Hello again, this is Nick Roach and we're outside. We'll hear lots of noises, road noise and road noise, wildlife, birds, geese, so excuse that. Again, a little bit of fun. I'm going to liken being conscious to being in a boat on top of the water. If you imagine you're in a boat, any boat, on the water, floating above it, and the water, as is often the case, symbolises emotion. So the emotion's there, you're on the surface, in the boat, aware, you can feel the boat, you bobbing up and down on the water. So there's flies everywhere. So. But you're not affected by it. You can see it, feel it, you're being moved by it, but you're not in it. You're the observer, separate, experiencing it. That's why you're conscious and self-aware. But what regularly happens, because we're not taught how to do that, we're never taught how to be conscious, not even the youngsters, no one ever tells you, are you aware? Are you here? Stay here now. Don't go off in the imagination. We tell children, look forward to this. Are you looking forward to that? Are you excited about this? All the time. We don't tell them to be conscious. So after a little while, we might be conscious for a few seconds. Then let's imagine, as we lose our consciousness, we start to sink. And our boat becomes a submarine. Or perhaps you could say we become a deep sea diver with aqualung on. It doesn't matter. The point is we're under the water. And we're amidst and amongst, surrounded by, enveloped by the water. And it is everywhere and everything. And just everything is this emotion. Water. Everything. There's no escape. And while we're down there, we see our friends and our family and people on the television and the news and everybody we know and has ever known and will ever know living down here in this space. All the emotion, struggling and fighting and not knowing any different at all. It's just so normal, can't imagine any other possible way to live. And every so often one comes to the surface and goes, wow, what's this? Oh, I don't like this. And down they go again, back into the depths where everybody else is living. And that's where people generally spend their lives, under the surface. Now, living on the surface is to be enlightened, self-realized, God-realized, whatever term you want to use. And that's all it is, being conscious all the time. There are other characteristics that are part of that, but in essence that's what it is, being conscious and self-aware. Not getting drawn down into the world of emotion, but staying on the surface, still being moved by it occasionally. But generally it's quite calm, but you can see it and you're aware of it, it's there, but you're not lost in it, you're not a part of it. But it's not easy if you're not used to it. The mind, which is the person, let's say the personality, the person is mostly made of emotion. You say it's all made of emotion, it's made of emotion. And so it needs to be in the midst of the emotion to keep itself going, keep itself alive and vibrant. It needs to be living down there. It can't survive on the surface. And so after a few seconds or a moment of being up here and going, wow, this is perhaps amazing, almost instantly you're going back down again. And that's fine, it can't be helped. The trick is, as much as possible, if you want to be free of the emotion, of living in it, and unhappiness, emotional distress, whatever situation it is for you, if you want to be free of that, it's spend as much time on the surface as possible, and that just simply means being conscious and being self-aware. And that's just being aware of being aware. When you're aware of that, you can experience the emotion, you can watch the emotion, but you're not lost in it. But everybody is living beneath the surface. As soon as they are born and a baby, they're on the surface then, let's say, because they're conscious at that moment. But that's because the thought process is still quite new. But very quickly they're taught to think and worry, look forward to things and worry about things, and then spend pretty much most of their lives after that beneath the surface with everybody else. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's living beneath the surface in the world of emotion. They don't want to go up there, and they'll hear stories of enlightened people with no problems. They go, how do they do that? In this world of emotion, how do they do that? Well, a fish that jumped out. Well, they're just being conscious. They don't want to live in and amongst the emotion any longer. If they've done it through choice, some just naturally after a while start to raise to the surface, or wake up one day and they're at the surface and they love it and they stay there, not through choice. For me, it took many years of practicing to stay there, stay here. But it can be done. So it's just staying on the surface and staying conscious. Thank you.